Now, one of the arguments for a gestural origin of language is that chimpanzees' vocalizations are very much hardwired. So they vocalize when something exciting happens or when they're emotional, getting in a certain emotional state. They don't really have any kind of voluntary control over them. So there have even been studies, not with apes, but with monkeys, trying to get them to vocalize on command. And you can't even train them to do it. So their vocalizations are tied to certain stimulus conditions and certain emotional states, but their gestures are much more flexible and they have much more voluntary control. So I'm just going to give you one example. And this is a request. So I've told you a little bit about informing. That was just about sharing. And now requesting or commanding or directing, whatever you want to call it. And that's what chimps do when they gesture. And here's one who wants to be groomed. And you'll see how he goes about getting grooming. And he'll sort of sticks his shoulder in front of the other one, and this initiates the grooming. Right? And so this is much more flexible. This is not sort of a fixed, built-in kind of thing. They do much flexibility with their gestures and whatnot. But all of their gestures are directives. They're never informing. They're never sharing. They're only requesting or directing or commanding, whatever your appropriate term is, an imperative in the most generic sense. Okay, so now let's talk about the comprehension part. So that was the motive part, and that was the production part. And let's talk about common ground and the way that works. So this is the idea that we both have to know that this is Mitch's bike before things can happen. Now I'm going to show you a little experiment that we did that is so simple, you're going to say to yourself, why would anybody bother to do such a simple experiment? But I'll try to explain it later. So she's going to hide the toy. She's going to hide the toy, and then she'll center him, and then she'll point to where it is. She'll tell him where it is. Okay, so she centers him, and then she points. And then you say to yourself, well, of course, she told him where it was. Okay, what's so funny? What's so great about that? She told him where it was, and he went there. It's because it takes a lot to figure that out. Now let's talk about chimps. This is where the chimp comparison really gives you some purchase. If you have a chimp, captive chimp, say in a cage here, and there's a piece of food over here that he doesn't see, and you go like this. You go, oh, like this. Okay? He'll follow your gaze over. He'll see the food. He'll go get it. So you say, see? He understands pointing. He follows your point over there. He gets it. Now you do the same thing, but you hide the food in one of two buckets, either here or there. Right? And he knows it's in one of them and only one of them. Right? And now you point to one of the buckets like this, and you hand it over to the chimp, and they choose randomly. Sometimes they even follow your gaze direction to the bucket. But I would gloss what they do is they say something like, okay, where's the food, where's the food, where's the food? Bucket. So what? Where's the food, where's the food, where's the food? So what they're pointing out is a hidden inference that you made that you didn't know you made. And that inference is of the basic type of, why is she directing my attention to this green thing? What does that have to do with the toy? All right? I'm looking for the toy. I'm not looking for that green thing. You make the inference of the type, because she's a cooperative person, she's directing my attention. We're playing this game of finding the toy. She's directing my attention over here. It must be relevant to my search for the toy, because she's being cooperative. She's trying to help me. So it must be relevant to that motive. So then when you get chimps, now this was done on TV, so it has a little hokey music in the background. That's okay. And you'll see the chimp in this same task.
The researcher points towards where the food is hidden. Half the time, the chimpanzee picks the wrong cup. It doesn't understand that the researcher is trying to help it.
Okay, so it's not, by the way, some people want to say, oh, she thinks you're trying to trick her, so she goes to the opposite one. No, it's not, it's random. It's not she goes to the opposite one every time. It's random. And they don't get it. And you notice that I give the citation here as a review paper because this is not one study. We've been trying in our lab. So the students will say, if one of the undergraduate students especially, when we give them a study to work on, they say, oh God, he gave us an object permanent study, we're going to get another negative result. I mean, an object choice study, we're going to get another negative result. So the chimps never do this. We've tried a bunch of different things and they really just don't get it. So something like the following, I think, is happening. This is kind of a repeat of what I just said. But the child and the adult have formed this joint goal. They've come in. I guess I should have said there's a warm-up for this task where I actually tip the bucket over and show you where it is. Or in that other case, I leave it the top off and I show you where it is. So the sort of script for the child, the structure of the situation for the child is, we're playing this cooperative game where I'm searching for the toy and you're going to help me find it. So we have a shared goal that I, the child, find the toy, and I'm going to play the role of searcher and you're going to play the role of helper. So given that cooperative structure, when you point to that bucket, I know that pointing is for me. Now, the for me is a kind of a general gloss of the Gricean communicative intention, that this is for me. I know that you intend for me to know that you're pointing this out for me. So this is for me. You make eye contact with me. It's clearly for me. And I see it as relevant to our shared goal that I find the thing. So I immediately make the inference, well, he must mean that's where the toy is. I don't think he wants me to look at how beautiful that bucket is. Right? He could mean that. He could mean, isn't that a beautiful bucket? But he doesn't, because we have of the shared activity that we're in. And the ape, and that's not a chimp, that's a gorilla. We've done it with all 4 great ape species. The ape says, where's the food, where's the food? Bucket, boring, where's the food, where's the food, where's the food? They don't make the relevance inference because they don't have common ground of this shared activity, because they don't understand the motive that you're trying to help them. So it's actually both. It's the cognitive part of joint attention, and it's the motive part of your cooperative motive trying to help me find it. Now, you might say, well, maybe chimps are just not that clever and they can't make an inference. But that's not true, because, okay, what we did was we compared 2 different situations, and one of them was just what you saw. So I point, I tell them where the food is, and I gaze alternate, and they continue to fail. But now we change it, and we make it a competitive situation instead of a cooperative one. And we do that by a warm-up period where the food is out here and the chimp comes over to get it and I grab it away. Okay, so we develop this kind, and then I usually I'll grab it away and then hit the thing like that to let them know it's a little bit, we got a competition going here. So we get this competition going, and then somebody else hides it in one of the 2 buckets, and I reach for it. But we have the situation set up so that I can only reach through this hole in the plexiglass about this far. And so I'm going like this, and I'm trying to reach it. So like the pointing, my arm is in this direction, but I'm not going like this in a very nice way. I'm going like this and trying to get it for myself, and then the other experimenter shoves it over to the chimp, and now they know where it is. Now they can get it. So what's the inferential process in the 2 cases? In the case I just gave you, the inferential process is something like, now I'm glossing what the chimp would say, he's trying to get into the bucket. So his goal is to get into the bucket, and the inference is, therefore, there must be something good in there. So they know in general that people go for good things, and that he's going for this. So there must be something good. So they can make that inference. But that inference is about my goal, and what knowing my goal leads you to think about what might be in the bucket. The communication is, to be successful, you would have to say, he intends, his goal is not to get in the bucket. His goal is that I know that the food is in this bucket. Or his goal is that I attend to this bucket. So it's got an embedded structure of your intentions about my mental states, what I should attend to or what I should know. Right? So it's not that they can't make any inferences, it's that they can't make this particular kind of communicative inference that has this one step of recursion, as I've been referring to, about she wants me to attend to this, or she wants me to know that this is over here.